Yeah, Saraswati.
Namaste, Jaykumarji. Can you please explain that rose garland example again? Which is Mithya, which is Satya? And you also said the rose fragrance goes to the string. So
Yeah.
I'm a bit confused on that.
Yeah, yeah. So there, the question was this. Let's understand the question that was asked. Why we set that example. The question is, there is asat. Every object in the world is mithya, asat. That is because it is really, if you look at every object, it basically comes down to sat. And sat is self-existent, and the asat depends on sat. So every object is really sitting on sat, if you want to think of it that way. Correct? The truth of every asat is sat. So every asat is related to sat. Somehow related to sat. So the question we are asking is this. Asat is related to sat. So therefore, won't asat take on the qualities of sat? Like two good friends? Or like this example of this thread, the string and the flowers. And the string takes on the odor of the flowers. Should like that, like we are as good as the company we keep. And so we are giving those examples to say, shouldn't it be like that? Shouldn't the relationship between Sat and Asat be like that? So that Asat will take on the property of Sat, which is all pervasive and Avinashi. So Asat should be Avinashi. This is the doubt we are asking. So this is the Purva Pakshi. Think of Purva Pakshi. He's challenging. He says, wait a minute. Asat is, you reduce Asat to Sat. Therefore, Asat and Sat, now I can't separate pot and clay. And so they're really close to each other. Therefore, pot is as good as clay. Pot must be as good as clay. That's what he says. To which we say, pot and clay are of two orders of reality. Pot and clay is not like the string rose example you gave. Pot and clay are not like the two friends example you gave. Pot and clay is not like the mother-daughter example you gave. It is entirely different. Pot depends on clay. Clay does not depend on pot. That is a Mithya Satyam relationship. And so that being the case, really speaking, pot does not have an independent existence at all. You can't even talk about pot and clay cannot even have a conversation. How they can have a conversation? Two separate people can have a conversation. A pot can converse with a bulb, but how can pot converse with clay? It cannot. Therefore, the Purva Pakshi is told, no, there's the question of Asat taking on the attributes of Sat is not possible because there are two orders of reality. That's where that example comes as
well. Jaykumarji. Hey.
Yeah, I heard the Mahesh voice, I think.
Yeah, I'm not on video because I'm calling from a parking lot. So
I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah, because I came to pick up some groceries. So I have a question. We said Asat is Sat, and Sat is not Asat. And we gave an example, pot is clay, clay is not pot. Wouldn't that be saying that instead of saying clay is not pot, clay is not the only form of, or pot is not the only form of clay. Clay can be a brick, clay can be a plate, in other words, pot is a subset of clay.
Pot is a subset of clay.
It exists as one of the many forms clay can exist.
Yeah, so you're saying the same thing. I'm also saying the same thing.
Because I'm not saying clay is not pot.
I'm saying clay is not pot. Because clay is not pot, what you say is true. Only then clay can be a brick.
No,
Only then clay can be a pot and brick at the same time also. Look at
True.
that. Same time. So that property is possible only if clay is not pot, clay is not brick. If you say, the moment you say clay is pot, then you're limiting clay. And wherever you see clay, clay must be pot. That is also not true. So it is, you are saying the same thing. Clay is not pot. When we say, it is true, clay is not pot. Clay really is not pot. Clay is just being clay, that's all. And you see a pot on top of clay. I project a pot on the clay. I've just shaped the clay in a particular form which is useful to me. You know, they form and function, correct? A form has a function.
right.
And it works well for me and for all of us. Therefore, clay has been shaped into a particular form, but clay continues to remain clay. Clay did not become pot. If clay became pot, like the milk became yogurt or curds, then what will happen? You can't get milk afterwards, you know, because I had no coffee. This morning there was no milk for tea. So I was wondering, there one lady delivers milk. And so I said, Annamma, yesterday you were supposed to give milk. I said, oh, okay, I'll buy some milk in the morning, but before that, I'll get you a glass of milk. Like that, she said. So I can't open the refrigerator and take the ghee, you know, the curds out of the refrigerator and then reverse the process. You know, Vedantis are good at reversing the process. So let's reverse the process and get milk out of it. We can't do that. So clay does not become pot. And because clay is not pot and clay continues to remain clay in this example. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I was saying that clay is not only pot. That's what I mean. Instead of saying clay is not pot, clay is not only pot.
Fair enough. Clay is not. So
Okay.
because we are focusing on the example, we are saying clay is not pot, because in our mind right now there is only pot and clay. And just the relationship between the two must be crystal clear. That is why we are not bringing other objects.
Okay.
We are not bringing other objects. Later on, you extend it to other objects. Yeah, clay is not pot, clay is not vase, clay is not brick, etc. Yeah. Good. So Ramesh ji, yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if it's appropriate, but what is exactly Sankhya means? In one of the book I read, Sankhya means you are jnana. Then I was thinking why Krishna also talks about Sankhya Yoga and Jnana Yoga separately.
Okay. So the literal meaning of Sankhya is jnana. Okay. And so we don't differentiate Sankhya, the word Sankhya, from the word jnana. There is not much difference at all. And in fact, this chapter is called Sankhya Yogo Nama Dvitiyodhyaya. Now, there is nothing wrong in using a synonym for Sankhya. So he uses in the third chapter, when we come, he will, Arjuna will ask a question. Jayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhir janardana tatkim karmani ghore mam niyojayasi keshava vyamishrena vakyena buddhim mohayasi vame tadekam vada nischitya yena shreyoham apnaya. Then Sri Bhagavan vacha lokesmin vividha nishta pura prokta mayanaga jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yogina. He says that. He says there are two lifestyles, and he is using the word jnana and sankhya in the same line. Jnana yogena sankhyanam, he says. So there what it means is, so first answer is sankhya and jnana are synonyms. Take them as synonyms. And if once that is said, then there will be less confusion for you, so that you don't take these as two different things, three different things like that. So like in this verse, he's saying Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam. So Sankhyanam, so he's saying there are two different lifestyles. For those who are active, those who are performing their duties of whatever ashrama they are, grahastha as a parent, they are discharging duties, etc. All these duties are being discharged. For such people, Karma Yoga, I recommend the lifestyle of Karma Yoga. Karma Yogena, Yoginam, he calls them as yogis. Such people who are doing their duties, he calls them as yogis. And then Sankhya Yoga, Jnana Yogena Sankhya. Then for those people, Sankhya means for those people who are given, who have completed all their duties and who are now committed to or ready to commit to this knowledge, this Brahma Vidya, I will talk about Jnana Yoga. So those people, he calls them as what? Sankhyas. He's calling them as Sankhyas. Look at the way he is using the word, correct? Sankhyas are the people who are interested in knowing, knowledge. And I recommend Jnana Yoga, he says. So it means, both words mean the same thing. Okay? Yeah, that's a good question.
Jaykumarji, I want to make a point. In computer programming, we have the object-oriented programming, we have the abstract class and the inherited class, which I was kind of relating to Sat and Asat. The inherited class is created and destroyed, whereas the abstract class cannot be created. It cannot have an instance. Just wanted to.
Oh, abstract class cannot have a destruction.
Yeah, it cannot be created. It cannot have its own instance. It is part of, only the inherited classes can be created and destroyed.
Ah, correct. Yeah. So that inherited class inherits from the abstract class?
Yes.
Yeah, that is what it is. That's what it is. Yeah, that's a good example to keep in mind. I should remember it. Inherited class and abstract class. Maybe in a computer class, I'll give this example. Okay, good.
I have a question.
Yeah, who is that?
Raghavan.
Yeah, Raghavan. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Sat, Asat, and Mithya. These are Sat, Asat, and Tucham, right? These are actually classification. Can I say these are actually classification, right? And here, ultimately, there is only one Sat. That is actually we are calling it as Atma, correct? Atma is the Sat, and everything else is will be classified either as Asat, either as Asat or Tucham. I mean, so, and this Sat is pervading everything, like my body, all the human beings or living creatures. It is pervasive.
Correct.
And this what Sat in me and this Atma in me and all other living creatures is also only one Atma.
Correct.
This is very difficult to imagine for me. Actually, I'm not able to understand this part. Like Sat in me and Sat in other living creatures. I'm getting the point. Like it is same Atma. But to imagine as the same, right, is very difficult because it is. Are we dividing it because there is only one, and we are dividing it among all the living beings, or how is it like? Because if, every birth is happening again and again, right? Birth and death. This circle is happening again and again. So whenever there's a new birth happening, is some portion of Sat is being taken away and like put into that, like getting pervasive of that, or how to imagine that actually.
Yeah, yeah. So first question is, how do I appreciate that the Sat in me, the human being, is the same as the Sat in the frog, okay, or in any animal, like a fish or a dog or anything. Hard to imagine. Now, if I say you are a frog, then that is not acceptable. That is not acceptable because frog is a frog and it lives in marshy waters, and these days frogs are all gone. You can't see frogs in cities at all because there is no water, street water, nothing is there. But some long ago we saw a frog, so I'm assuming everybody knows what a frog is. I have to make these assumptions now. And so frog. So you are a frog if you say, unless human body is not the same as a frog's body. It's very obvious. Or if I say you are a dog, unless I mean something else. I must mean something else. If I say you are a dog, you're a dog means what? You're just useless, or you're a street dog. It's a curse. So that I can do. But otherwise, these two bodies are not equal at all. How can these two bodies be equal? Their functions are different. Their capacities are different. Even though the only thing that seems to be common is what? Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, Maithunaj. These are the only things that are common. Everything else is different. There seems to be more differences than similarities. That is accepted. But that's the beauty also. And you look at fundamentally what these two living beings are. Even you don't have to go to Sat. Perhaps if you ask a biologist and or a zoologist in this case, not biologist, and if they know the anatomy of the animal well, and if they've done all the research, what will they say? My cell, finally I am a cell. I'm just a combination of cells. So I am a human cell. Maybe there is RNA, DNA, all these, some unique cells are there. Nerve cell is there. So there are some cells. The dog also has the same cells. I'm almost certain they will say that at the cellular level, there is very little difference. Perhaps the doctors in this hall can enlighten us. At the cellular level, there is very little difference. And you go further to the particle level, nucleus level, very little difference. Yeah, DNA is different. But what is DNA composed of? Deoxyribonucleic acid. That is the same thing. So at that level, everything is same, Raghavan. Correct?
Correct.
Without even going to Sat, I am saying. At the level at which we are all educated, I am saying it is all same. At the biological level, it's all same. Nuclear level, atomic level, it's all same. So if there itself everything is same, what to talk of existence at the level of existence? Correct?
Correct.
So that is the way to think about it. It is not, it may appear abstract, but the more you think about it, it becomes more real, becomes more obvious to you. So I appreciate the question. And so when you look at things, the function and exterior appearances, they're all very different. But at the fundamental level, they're all the same.
Jaykumarji, in the example that you're giving, is it appropriate to say that the cells are the same? We can say they are similar, but can we say they are the same? We can't say they are the same, right?
Yeah. So it depends. If the cells are really the same, if the biologist tells me that, if the particle biologist tells me that, then they are the same. If the structure is the same nucleus, and if the nucleus has the same type of DNA, RNA, etc., cytoplasm, protoplasm, cell wall is made of the same composition. If they say that, then okay, then even the cells are identical. We don't have to go any further beyond that.
Right, they're identical, but they're not exactly the same instance, right? That's what I mean. It's not the same thing. The cell in the human body, it's not exactly the same cell. It is identical. It may be identical, but it's that same cell is not the one that is in the
Yeah,
dog.
yeah. So like because the clay is not pot, and therefore clay can be in any number of pots. Clay can be in any number of objects, which may not be pots also. So yeah, you can have two identical cells in different bodies. That is fine because there is a mithya boundary, and so you've got a multitude of objects, and cells can be many, and so there is an artificial boundary there, and then cell division happens. Here also cell division happens. There also cell division happens, and all the processes are there, and everything follows an order. Look at this. Everything follows an order. And that is why there is science. Science applies only when there is order. Correct? Science is a discovery of order. And so it can be, yeah, Bhagya. So it can be different cells. That doesn't stop. That doesn't. One good thing is if they are really identical, then Raghavan, your problem is even simplified further. Because two identical cells, and or if they're almost identical, that's also okay, almost identical. So we just have to go one level down to make it identical. Correct?
The second question, right? Is it the same one or is it two different things? Because I mean, like, identical is different and exactly the same is different. So here, in the case of cell, it is identical. That means still there are two cells are existing, and it is identical. Identical is okay, but they are still different. I mean, like they are two different entities. But Sat is not like that. Sat is whatever is present in me is present in dog, frog, like that. So is it divisible or like there is some reservoir of something like one part of it um, is being taken away and like placed in all the bodies, or how to imagine the my second question was like, is it divisible?
Right. Right. So imagine an ocean. Imagine an ocean. You go to the beach and you look at the ocean, and then you have your daughter with you, small daughter, and you point all these waves to the daughter. Look at that wave that's coming towards you. And then she's saying, "Yeah, it's coming fast. My God, let's run away, Dad." She says, and then no, let's just watch it. Don't come. Don't worry. And then the wave comes, and then it goes up, and then it's gone. Then there is another wave coming, and another wave, another wave. Like this, you keep pointing. So many different waves are coming and going, coming in. Everything coming from the same water, Sat, ocean, all pervasive. The all pervasive water is just coming in different forms and with different lifespans. These waves are all different. They're all separated. They're all apparently separated. Okay. And then they disappear. The lifespans are some waves you seem to see coming from there and coming all the way to the end. Even there, you can't say it is the same wave because the water, it's just the water that is flowing. And so, like that, these forms, new life forms, we're talking about new life forms, baby being born, etc. Baby cannot be born out of nothing. What is that thing from which the baby is born? So you talk about sperm and egg and all these things are there, but that is also there. So you need something from which the baby is born. Correct? And so that something is there. Then if you analyze that something, what will you find? That is also mithya. And it's mithya, very different. The egg is different from sperm, very different. And yet some magic happens, srishti happens from that. And so, but nothing stops. Sat does not stop anything from happening. For us, we want to see Sat. If you, Jayakumarji, if you can show me Sat one of these classes, please show me Sat, and then I will feel very happy. Okay. So I will show you Sat. Why? In every class I will show you Sat. You are Sat, my dear. Do you exist or not? Yes, I exist. Or do you have to check with your wife, do you exist or not? And sometimes we have to take our wife's permission and husband's permission. That also. I'm just imagining things what might happen in your household. And so yeah, go ahead. Or do you go to ask permission? Do I exist? For this Gita class, I allow you to exist. After that, you are going to listen to me. Okay. So fine. So some allowance has been given, but this existence cannot be denied. That you is Sat. That you, when you say I exist, don't put the I on the body. Body is there, body might go, etc. But there is I, which is conscious of this body. Who says I have a body? Your mind says I have a body. Your buddhi says I have a body. Okay. Who is able to see those thoughts? Somebody is there, conscious being. That conscious being is existence, Atma. And so it's a paradigm shift. The next topic we are going to talk about is this thing about what is our desire to observe things. Seeing is believing, they say. Seeing is believing. And seeing is believing. I don't deny that. But in order to see, you must exist first. I'm saying don't take it for granted. Don't take that existence for granted. Okay. Seeing is believing. So next class we're going to talk about this word aprameyasya has come, right? So there we will have a discussion. So maybe that discussion also will help you a little bit. Yeah?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Good.
Thank you, Jayakumarji. It was very enlightening. Thank you.
So here, this one, Vaidyanathan says, all DNA consists of 4 bases, A, C, T, G, whether frog DNA or human DNA.
That's amino acids.
AC, then guanine, thionine, something like that.
Yeah, that's all basic amino acids.
Yeah.
Their arrangement in the DNA is different.
Yeah.
From species to species. And then the DNA level can be different, RNA DNA, but if you take example of pig, nowadays the pig valve will be implanted to the human beings.
Okay,
basically the same thing.
You said
pig valve,
yeah,
heart valve, they take from the pig and then put it there to the humans. It can be done too, but molecular level in a way it's right, and then DNA a little different, but it is pretty good analogy.
Yeah. And you look at a tree, you look at a mango tree or this almond tree, and as you look at this, the seed is so small. Almond is just this small, and yet the entire tree is there in the seed.
Yes.
And every seed gives the same. Every almond seed gives the almond tree only. One decides tomorrow I want to be a mango, and then I feel like mangoes are so big. I'm so bored being so small. I want to do something. I want to go to the gym and do this. Then I want to become a mango. No almond says that. And so, yeah, amazing at the molecular level. That is why science always likes to drill down, is it not? Because then only you can get some commonality. Then only you can develop some laws which can then be applied. Those models at the molecular level are applicable across the board.
the beauty is, Jaykumarji, they are same, but they're also different at the same time. Even if you look at the human body, like the cells are same basically, but then again, depending on the function, they kind of specialize. And you know, what we know is we just see the facts, but what makes them differentiate into those kind of things, what makes them specialize, though they're at the same, they have some basic things that are common, but then depending on the function and depending on which organ they are in, they specialize. So you see the difference too, you see the similarities too. So that is what is the amazing part.
Correct, absolutely true. I agree with that 100%. We talk about so much similarity, but yet the differentiation is so much. So
Yes.
they talk about cell differentiation. How organs are. I think when I studied
Developed in the embryology.
they grow organs in the starting in the petri dish. I think they can grow organs also. If I'm not
Yes.
mistaken, is that correct?
Yes,
The
you can
more
do that.
pluripotent a cell is, the more it can turn into anything. So, but once it specializes, you cannot bring it back. But that tendency to differentiate, how does it know to go into this lineage or this one, like, you know, a pluripotent cell differentiating into different organs, that itself is very amazing. The basic structure is one, but then as they differentiate also, you see the amazing, like awesome thing that happens in the cell.
How it operates is different, right? Like you eat a banana,
Yeah,
we eat a banana, and cows eat bananas.
But what causes it is the thing that is amazing. Yeah. What makes it do that? It is the same food we eat. It's the same food the cow eats, but it makes milk. We make energy out of the same food. What makes it go into that path is what is the most amazing part of this creation that God has done.
That is also part of the genetic code and also influence of hormones.
It is, but what makes it does? I mean, we can bring it down to a cellular structure or a subcellular structure, but what is that causes that thing? Like for a cell is normal. What is that thing that makes it trigger to get it become cancerous? We know how it becomes cancerous, what happens, it divides multiple times and stuff like that. But what is the stimulus that does that? There are a lot of things that cause that, but suddenly what is the change exactly, we cannot say.
Yeah, and that's why this science is never ending. Right?
Yes.
That's why we keep on.
A lot of research going on.
A lot of research always seems to grow, and because at that level there is more and more things, you see more and more differentiation and more opportunities. And instead of saying we know now everything about cancer or we know everything about dentistry, can anybody say that? No, nobody can say that, because mithya, the minute you talk about mithya, there is a lot of differentiation. There is way too much differentiation. Only Sat is very boring. Sat always is. It cannot be destroyed. You can't drill a hole and then like you remove the teeth. You can't do anything with Sat. Avinashi. So, but once you talk about mithya, then the whole world is available and constantly changing, constantly correcting oneself, constantly discovering new things. After all we are doing is discovering the order of Ishvara. Because the order is already there. Everything is already there. Waiting to be discovered, correct?
Yes.
Waiting to be discovered. So it's amazing. Very amazing.
Very interesting. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. And
thank you. Good night.
We'll chant this Dhanvantari Stotra 3 times.
Yes. Just 2 minutes. Yeah, next. Yeah.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrita Kalasha Hastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokyanataya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrita Kalasha Hastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokyanataya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrita Kalasha Hastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokyanataya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. See you all next class. Thank you.